and welcome to SaaS Leaders Lounge, your premier podcast for insights into the tech world, hosted by me, Ramon. Today, in our AI series, we're excited to have Elnar Hajiyev, the co-founder and CTO of RealEyes. With us, Elnar's journey from the University of Oxford to pioneering roles in the tech entrepreneurship, including his transformative work at RealEyes, has set new benchmarks in emotion recognition, technology, and its applications. Elnar, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. How are you and where are you joining us from?
Hi, Ramona. Thanks for the invitation. Great pleasure to join you today as well. I'm joining from Barcelona, actually.
Beautiful, beautiful place, I must say, and also one of my favorite teams. Pleasure to have you here today, Elnar. I must say, I think our guests and our audience is going to love what kind of you have in store for us. So, Elnar, to dive straight into it, are you able to share your inspiration behind RealEyes and the specific market need you aim to address with its inception?
Sure. Well, at RealEyes, what we're trying to do is we have a mission of making technology more human. So there's obviously a great technological development all around, a lot of AI development as well. And I think we've always felt that one important link that was missing in all of the applications and different kinds of technologies is the ability for our devices to actually understand our emotions. And that's the mission that we set out with, and that's the missing link that we're working to solve and the technology that we're building.
Brilliant. I must say, a lot of our listeners are on a journey right now in careers or thinking to start something like yourself. Looking back on your entrepreneurial journey, what pivotal moments led you to co-found RealEyes, and how have you seen the landscape of AI and emotion recognition evolve since then?
Well, I've always been interested in entrepreneurship because I don't know, it's hard to say why. I think my father is an entrepreneur, and I sort of liked the ideas behind it and always
Yeah.
wanted to do that. Realize is not the first company that I've co-founded. I had other companies that were actually, in the end, turning out quite successfully as
Brilliant.
well. So there's a number of different pivotal moments that led to this startup. I think one of the pivotal moments was me meeting my co-founders. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's just people with some great ideas and clicking together. Um, sometimes you do that intentionally, sometimes it happens by luck. For me, it was more of luck, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just one of those important moments where we were talking about technologies that were evolving, that were able to better understand human behavior through specialized devices or web cameras. And we were fascinated about this and kind of wanted to pull together to see what we could do about it. And then, just throughout the work that we had on RealEyes at the time when we were starting it, I think the machine learning was really taking off. And first there were compute power that was kind of increasing, and volumes of data that
Yeah.
was being generated to train machine learning models.
Yeah.
And then that enabled the ability to train deep neural networks. And then, from then onwards, more and more different types of AI models have started to appear. And we've been just part of that journey. We've seen it all happening. And we were obviously within the space that we're working on,
Yeah.
which is reading faces, reading facial expressions.
Sure.
Um, we were kind of riding the wave along with everyone else.
That's truly fascinating, I must say. RealEyes has recently introduced some groundbreaking features. Could you elaborate on these innovations and the implications for emotion AI across various industries?
Yes, absolutely. So, uh, first of all, I'd like to kind of explain the different features that we have.
Yeah,
So we're focusing on faces, and we kind of find faces in the camera feed. We're able to recognize faces. We're able to recognize things like age and gender of the face. And then we
yeah,
start tracking face to see if we can read facial expressions. And depending on the context in which these facial expressions appear, interpret them as certain reactions. It can be emotional reactions, or it can be an indication of levels of attention. So, are people actually paying attention, or they're being distracted?
yeah,
Um, and then, this is just a generic technology, and then you can apply it in different scenarios. One of the scenarios that we have been applying this technology is trying to gauge audiences' engagement with content on their screen. So we would show people, for example, movie trailers or advertisement videos or social media videos, and kind of measure their reactions. And that can be very valuable to understand if these videos are of high quality, if they're engaging
yeah,
the the audience correctly, and so on. Um, Besides that, of course, the applications of this technology are much broader. We've been experimenting with use of this technology in online education, where, especially during the COVID, where a lot of education has moved to online, the teachers have noticed the challenges of trying to keep the audience engaged, or trying to stay aware who in the audience is being engaged and who is not, or how much is the audience overall is engaged, and
yeah.
if and take certain actions, take certain corrective actions if necessary. So again, this kind of technology is able to enable this type of capabilities. One new area that we've been working on recently is
Yeah,
fraud detection. So kind of trying to uh, um, see if there is a real human behind the camera, and if that human is actually really truly participating in, for example, an online research that might be being
yeah.
conducted. Um, there are applications in gaming, there are applications in security, there are great applications in mental well-being, and we have worked on some of those applications as well. So this kind of technology has very, very broad applications. Of course, their applicability depends on the maturity of the technology and how fine-tuned can it be for the specific use case.
That's remarkable, and I must say I was previously a maths teacher before diving into recruitment, and I could definitely see the effect that would have on my classroom to kind of pinpoint who needs further attention as well. But overall, I think it showcases how Real Eyes isn't just a participant, but a leader in this emotion AI space. I think your innovations that you've mentioned, included definitely that fraud detection element, has the potential to revolutionize how we interact with technology on a emotional level, especially with security, the element is inputted. But your enthusiasm for the Squirrel Squadron newsletter and its insights into tech and product development is well noted, as I have looked at previous posts of yours as well. How do these insights shape your strategy and product development at Real Eyes?
Well, I guess a couple of words about Squirrel Squadron. So it's a squadron of C-level executives, a lot of whom are CEOs, CPOs, Chief Product Officers, or CTOs, Chief Technology Officers, but
Yeah,
also other C-suite, C-level people. And I think for me, everybody probably has has something specific to them to take away from being part of such community. For
Yeah.
me, an important aspect was, first of all, kind of confirmation that a lot of challenges that I myself, being a CTO in a startup, the challenges that we had are very similar across startups of all sizes, similar type of sizes. So this is very reassuring because especially those who are first time startuppers, they may feel like, oh my God, this is only happening to me. I'm doing something terribly wrong. Um,
Definitely.
and then there's a lot of great ideas, a lot of great practices that are being shared by the community, by people who are part of the community, in
Yeah.
in in how to address certain challenges that do come up. And
Definitely.
some challenges, you resonate very strongly with them because they did come up or are actually coming up in your company. Some maybe something that would happen in the future, but you haven't yet experienced that, but it's still interesting to learn about it. So it's really being part of the community and being part of the like-minded people and kind of being the support group to each other. This is an absolutely free community for anyone to join, and I definitely highly recommend. There's always something new to learn. Even though I've been doing this for many years, I'm always
Yeah.
fascinated how you know that there's so much to learn more.
Definitely. I see the benefits of that community as that's what we kind of foster on SaaS Leaders Lounge. And even with two previous guests we've had so far, I've kind of identified what was their main concerns in the first 6 months. And they've always said that the sales and marketing part, like you've got this AI engineering brain, but being a part of a community can actually allow you to find resources and how to boost those actual sales and marketing aspects that will really drive your business further in terms of the exposure it needs within that time. So I think it's inspiring to see how you leverage external knowledge to fuel the innovation at RealEyes. In the realm of AI, we did touch on this slightly previously, but where privacy concerns are paramount, how does RealEyes navigate the ethical implications of emotion recognition technology?
Yeah, privacy has always been super important for us. We are working with facial data, and that is personally identifiable data. And we kind of recognize the sensitivity of the data that we're working with even before the GDPR came into force.
Yeah.
So we just follow certain rules and principles, such as making sure that we are fully legally compliant. So 100% GDPR compliance. We're making sure that we're always asking for explicit consent. So we don't access camera, we don't record people unless people explicitly agree. Um, we obviously pay a lot of attention to security of our systems, and things like ensuring SOC 2 compliance, and having external parties to review from time to time the infrastructure from the security point of view. We do open ourselves to external audits. So by one of the big audit companies. Um, so these are some of the critical items. I think one important thing for us, also from the ethical standpoint, is that
Yeah.
the applications that we're working on and the applications that we kind of enable our technology for, um, has to be an explicit consent only applications. So that means that we wouldn't agree to the kind of applications where this would be used in security cameras, where people obviously haven't consented, they don't have a chance to give a consent, and this
Yeah.
software would be running sort of secretly behind the cameras there. So no, so all of the applications are by design such that there is an explicit consent before the technology is being used.
Yeah, and I think prioritizing those ethical considerations is definitely crucial and commendable, and it does sound like you're setting a standard for this as well. But considering the rapid advancements in AI, I think especially considering your solution, there's a risk of bias or misinterpretations in emotion recognition. How does RealEyes address these challenges?
Yeah, this is also a very important part of our work. So one of the areas that we very seriously look at is fairness of our models. And there are some specific segments by which we try to pay special attention. And these are age, gender, and where possible, we're also looking at skin tone
Yeah,
and measuring the performance, evaluating the performance of models by these dimensions, and then trying to adjust our models to ensure that there is no bias or that bias is kept to minimal levels. So
yeah,
this is one area that's really important for us. Um, Another one is kind of connected to that is the robustness of models. We're also trying to make sure that the model works across different kinds of devices and different kinds of environmental conditions. So
yeah,
if somebody is using, for example, a lower quality device, that they would not be prevented from using this kind of technology. So that's
yeah,
why our data set contains data that's been collected in from all kinds of camera devices. So that's another critical aspect of what we do. Then I also mentioned this context specific awareness.
yeah,
So it is so what we're measuring is actually facial expressions. And how you interpret these facial expressions is very much context specific.
yeah,
So, if somebody is smiling in a scenario where you're showing them a funny video, might have a different interpretation if somebody is smiling in a scenario where maybe they're expressing a doubt because of some information that's being provided to them that they don't believe in. So it is very
yeah.
important to understand the context in which technology is being used. And that's something that obviously, depending on the scenario and application, this can be a difficult subject, but that's something that's always at the top of our mind, and we try to make sure that we bring that into the interpretation element as much as possible.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think your approach to, as you mentioned, the context or mitigating the bias is essential for the credibility and also reliability of emotion AI. But it's clear RealEyes is committed to these ethical and kind of accurate technology departments. As we look ahead to the future, how do you see emotion AI evolving, and what role will RealEyes play in shaping this trajectory across various sectors?
Well, one area that we're particularly fascinated in the development of emotion AI is AI avatars.
Yeah,
So you probably have seen a lot of AI, or starting to see an increase in AI avatars appearing out
yeah,
there, and that particularly started to happen with the launch of ChatGPT kind of models. There is another type of technology that not many people are aware of yet, but it's gradually increasing, is a human realistic avatars. So where avatars are being visually generated and they look like real humans, but they're 100% generated. And
yeah,
and so uh, pairing these two technologies together, human realistic avatars and ChatGPT kind of models, enables AI avatars, AI assistants
yeah,
of a totally different level. And our vision is that there's going to be more and more of such assistants that are appearing in different kind of applications. It's going to start with probably customer support. So a lot of the customer support is going to be, these not very useful chatbots are going to be replaced with a lot more human-friendly avatars.
Yeah.
And I think this is one area that is really fascinating for applications of our kind of technology, because these human realistic AI avatars, when they're interacting with another person, uh, obviously they're going to be a lot better if they are able to sense
Yeah.
humans not only by what they're saying, but also by their behavior. Are they enjoying the conversation, or they're being unhappy about it? Are they even paying attention to the conversation, or they're being distracted and doing something else? Or is
Yeah.
it still the same person I'm interacting with, or has the person walked away and now another person came in front of the avatar? So that's one area that we're particularly excited about. But in general, I think emotion AI technology is going to continue developing more and more into forms of non-verbal forms
Yeah.
of communication. So recognizing more of the gestures, more nuanced types of behaviors, and of course multi-modality. So that's taking many aspects or many sensors, be it audio, be it video, be it some of the contextual information, pull it all together to make an even more accurate understanding of us humans during the interaction process.
Brilliant. I really like that answer. I must say, I spoke to the founder of Deep AI called Kevin Barragone, and one of the questions for him was, "What's the misconceptions about the future in AI?" And he's kind of clearly mentioned what you said. People think that AI is going to be very robotic, but in fact, it's going to be very realistic, and very human-like to allow us to kind of trust and work together more effectively. So it's great you've pinpointed that as well in your answer. If you could perfect an AI system to read and respond to one specific emotion, which emotion would you choose and why?
I would choose that's an interesting question. Maybe I have two answers to it. One answer
Sure.
is I would choose positive emotion, so a happy or a smile, um, and the reason being because one of the things that part of our mission is to bring more smiles into the world. So a trillion
Yeah.
more smiles. Um, and but the happy emotion is something that we're already able to recognize and read quite well.
Yeah.
Um, the challenge right now is more on the negative emotions, the not very explicit, subtle, especially if somebody is maybe subtly depressed or kind of in a bad mood. Um, and of course, I'd like to invest in enabling the technology to understand that better, so we're able to help with the initiatives of emotional well-being, and that way bring the trillion more smiles into the world.
I agree with yourself. It probably would help a lot of relationships as well in solving problems. I think there's a lot of real life problems that could solve, I must say. I'm a very smiley person myself, and I think it's clear to see the opposite. But some people you can't really tell the difference in their emotions. So yeah, that's a game changer. Now we're going to move on to our light-hearted quickfire section, just so our listeners could get a peek into the person behind the innovation, yourself. Um, would you prefer to never have to work again, or love your work so much that you never want to retire?
Never want to retire.
Brilliant. Would you prefer to be the best player on a losing team or the worst player on a winning team?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would go for worst player in the best team.
Would you prefer a rainy day or a sunny day?
Can I have any day? I like both. So
That's positivity, I must say. Do you prefer investing or saving?
investing.
Brilliant, brilliant. We're probably past the times now, so but I guess it's still right to ask. Would you prefer handwritten letters or emails?
Depends, but I'll go for handwritten.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the content. Perfectly. Last two questions. Do you prefer a museum or an amusement park?
Hmm, hard. I'll go for museum.
Nice, nice. Definitely. I guess you can learn a bit of history through that as well without the frills. Um, are
And
you
some
more of
museums
a
can be like amusement parks.
Yeah, I agree with yourself, to be honest, especially with if you're with the kids as well.
Yeah,
Definitely. So, do you prefer DIY to do it yourself or hire a professional?
DIY.
Perfect. I did say there'll be two more questions, but I'll fit one more in. Would you prefer to own your own private island or a private jet?
Private island.
Hmm, Definitely. That's interesting, I must say. Got brilliant answers there. We definitely got more of a glimpse into yourself, Elna. And as we like to keep the collaborative nature on the podcast, we always ask a question from one guest to another. So our previous guest is a gentleman called Amin Rabina. He's the founder of Glissandro AI, and he's asked, if you wake up one morning and you see your bank balance on zero, what's the first thing you would do?
I'd start devising a plan of how do I get out of the situation. So I think it will consist of initially like emergency reach out to friends and family
Yeah.
who I'm fortunate to have who would help in the short term and then start making my way towards how do I start bringing some money into the account. So how did it happen that I have a zero?
Yeah, I guess the emergency fund will definitely be needed first, but yeah, the planning's the right way to go. So what would your question be for our next guest, who's a gentleman called Dan Gaynor? He founded a company called Kelp, and now they've been acquired by Signal AI, where he is also resumed control. But yeah, what would your question be for him?
Well, my question would be for him, as someone who is working on AI, is what is he doing about AI safety and ensuring responsible AI development? Um, I think this is an important question for anyone who's working on AI to think about.
Definitely. And as they say, great minds think alike, as I already had that question to ask him, but I'll be sure to remove my one, replace it, and put your one as the question to ask him, definitely. Before we wrap up, Elder, are you able to share where our listeners can learn more about you, your work, and Real Eyes?
Sure. Well, I'm personally not a very public person, just from the personality point of view. I do write sometimes or share some of our company updates on LinkedIn. Um, and generally, all my work goes into the Realize that I'm working with a great team on. And
Yeah.
so all the updates that we are releasing as a company are the ones where I tend to think that I'm also contributing to.
Brilliant, brilliant. I'll be sure to include your information in the About Us below the podcast video as well on YouTube and also on Spotify and Apple. But thank you so much, Elnar, for joining us today on the SaaS Leaders Lounge podcast and sharing your insights into the fascinating world of emotion AI. It's been a truly enlightening conversation, especially to myself. To our listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the SaaS Leaders Lounge on your favorite podcast platform to not miss out on episodes like this. Stay curious, keep exploring the boundaries of innovation and leadership. Goodbye for now. Thank you so much for your time, Elnar. Take care.
Pleasure talking to you, Ramon. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.